one of the big ones for me too is bringing African kids and African American kids together. Meaning, I am going to take African American kids and take them to the soil so they can just pick up the dirt of where they're from,
I
and
love that.
everything will change for that child.
Absolutely.
Their last name won't be what they think it. They would now say, "Oh my God, something else existed before me, before the U.S. This
Yep.
is new. The U.S. is very. It's only 400 years. This one is new.
Right. We
You
were
go to
not
Africa,
here. We're
you're
not
like,
born here. Oh no. They don't get it. It's okay. We get it.
I was like, yes, Lord, come on with the cancellations.
Ooh, we going in and now just kidding.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm black. Am I good?
He's with the best of them. And he's one of my favorite men to emphasize.
that entrance sounds like much more than who I actually am.
My guest of honor is a visionary that drops pearls of wisdom and wears many hats. He's a husband, father, entrepreneur, coach, teacher, and a dentist. He's a constant learner and someone who loves finding new capabilities he didn't know he already had. He recently owned a dental practice and sold it to pursue his purpose work, which is helping more people break through their potential. His dedication and selflessness has allowed him to fulfill his vision and impact so many lives. Today, my guest of honor is Christopher Emdin. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. Really, I've been looking forward to this, all week. For sure.
Well, that makes me happy.
Oh, absolutely.
I have to ask you, with everything going on, how has quarantining been going for you?
Yeah, quarantine, just like anything, or anything that happens, there's also a blessing on the other side. So, I had a child on March 6, 2020. Then right after that, that's when the lockdown happened. But I don't think many dads have been able to spend as much time, with their child. That bond, it's between my child and my wife, that I can never take back.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that beyond anything. But I am a busybody. I like to move around, so being stuck in a place for some time, it does get kind of tough. I like to mingle and talk with people, so that part was difficult, I would say.
I will say I can agree with you on that because I'm used to like being on the go too. So
yes,
but I have found that being at home for me is great. I'm also a homebody, so I always tell people I'm a introvert with extrovert tendencies.
There you go. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background, Chris. Let them know where you're from and everything.
Okay, yeah. So I'm born and raised here in Dallas, Texas area. My parents are, first generation immigrants from West Africa. Different countries though, so very different cultures. And yeah, so I was just, born and raised here. My family was very strict on education and, schooling. So, my sister and I really, we focused in on that. Ended up becoming, a general dentist. But I guess there's a lot I skipped through there. I went to University of Texas at Arlington. So, it was no more than 40 miles away from my mom, which was good for me. So I had home cooking whenever stuff was going, whenever it was rough, I was able to, get back home. They're always a phone call away. And then I went to dental school also in Dallas here at Thaler. And that was even like 20 miles away from home. So I schooled there. Then I did another year afterwards, after dental school. That was called an AGD. So that's like an advanced education in general dentistry, just so I can really hone in on the skill, and be confident in what it was that I was doing.
Yeah. What made you choose dentistry?
Yeah, my dad at the age, I was 13 years old. He just kind of asked me, "Hey, what is it you want to do?" And I noticed a cousin of mine would always be at our house during the holidays, like Thanksgiving, and I saw his mom was like a surgeon, like a medical doctor, but she was always busy.
Mm-hmm.
Every holiday she was there. So I was like, how could I do something in healthcare and not be that busy all the time? And so my dad kind of suggested, he was like, hey, there's different paths in healthcare that you can do. And that day I just kind of decided, hey, dentistry, you know.
That's a good choice,
So,
though.
you know,
Dentistry is a great choice.
it was. It is. It is. You don't have much choice too, where like from the type of family I come from, you know, it's engineering, healthcare, or law at that point in time. All the rest kind of looked upon as, hey, it's not up to par. And this is real, you know.
Mhm.
It's not truth, but that's kind of how, you know, we grew up. So
Now, how was it
we
growing
pass
up
on the
that
truth.
way though? Because
Yeah,
when you get exposed to different things and like going to college, you get exposed to so much stuff and so many different types of people. So you're
100%.
like, man, I didn't even know this was like a thing. How did you deal
Right.
with like balancing that?
And that's a deep question. How do I even feel that? But I think I started to understand that uh, people had different gifts and
Hmm.
different talents. And when they utilize it, when they were living in their gift, they really they shined, they bloomed, right?
Hmm.
And then I also learned that uh, just because one career gets paid more than the other doesn't mean it's more important, right?
Hmm.
But then I also learned to love like who I was, even being an African
Yeah.
in America right here. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
you know, my parents raised me on the north side of the highway, so the schooling was different. And we moved from the south side to the north side, so that's how I realized, hey, there's a difference here. But then I had to be a kind of certain way to grow up in that school, that new environment, and I kind of lost a lot of my culture, a lot of who I was. I kind of felt, you know, less than a little bit for being
Hmm.
African, you know, in that type of environment until I got to UT and I was like, whoa, more of us exist. And
Yeah.
we're pursuing some of the same stuff. We have some of the same commonalities. I really gained a love for myself and confidence
Yeah.
that first year, 100%.
Representation is so important.
And it's the representation and exposure, absolutely,
So
so
important.
so vital.
Having you in dentistry, like you starting your own practice and everything, I bet you met a lot of people that probably looked up to you just because they see something in themselves in you. So tell me a little bit about the dentistry practice and everything, how you started it.
Yeah, wow. So it started from just a thought, you know, that hey, I could actually be my own boss. That was huge. And in hindsight, I could see why my parents kind of guided me towards this. Um, and then it was like, all right, this could actually happen. So I started listening to podcasts, reading, you know, and I was like, huh, okay, this is how I can get a loan to get into a business. And I was like, I don't even have to have all the money up front.
Hmm.
Then I learned, I was like, I don't even have to have any of the money to get into being my own business owner. So then I now just started, I made sure my credit was good. And then I now started looking for different offices. And boom, I found one that was at a really good price, really good price. And the scariest thing was signing those documents to say, hey, I know it's the scariest. They give you the keys, everything. I started losing weight, started getting some anxiety.
Oh
You know,
no.
it was tough that first year of it. But owning my own business has taught me to put a mirror in front of myself, and it has changed everything I've thought about in my adulthood life.
Yeah,
100%,
absolutely. It is
100%.
scary. It's scary because you like, man, if it don't work, it's on me.
Right,
Like there's nobody you can blame it on. But
exactly.
it's also liberating to know, like,
Yes,
I can do things in the way that God shows me and like not
yes,
have anybody question me about it. So that's the beautiful side of
exactly.
entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
That is so amazing though. The fact that I think it's important to mention or repeat that you took the time to look at everything and read up on stuff and study it before you even like attempted to go after it. So I just wanted to repeat that.
Yeah, 100%.
Was there anybody you met on your path that was going into dentistry that impacted you in such a way to help you do this thing?
Yes. So yes. So I had a cousin who already was about 3 years ahead of me,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually bought a practice, you know, while I was in dental school. So that already, now that you asked me that question, it already showed me that hey, it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Exposure, right? It's just like, oh, okay, you can do it. And he did it pretty quickly. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, let me see if I can, let me find out type of thing. And so that was one. And then I had another guy from church a while back. He was like 10 years older than me. And he had been practicing for a long time and then bought his practice. So those are two, mentors that I would say that I had earlier on, for sure.
That's great. I'm glad that you had examples because I mean, starting it from scratch is already a big deal. But then like having somebody that can give you pointers and stuff along the way is always great to have.
Absolutely.
Always
Uh,
great to have. So having them there, how has that impacted how you help other people now?
you know, let me be honest. Like, if not for them, if not for the mentors that I've had, I won't be half where I am today, 100%. Because they just shortened the learning curve so fast. So
Yeah.
I possibly wouldn't have been owning a practice. I would have been doing the same dentistry I was doing in dental school. Uh, I wouldn't have betted on myself.
Yeah.
See where I'm going? I wouldn't have. Taken a lot longer. So yeah.
What would you say are the 5 non-negotiables when it comes to like the people that you have around you? Because I'm a
Trina, you
firm
going deep. You going deep.
this stuff people need to
Who,
know though for real.
who am I talking to again? What's my let me make sure my demographics. So I'm talking to young teenagers, right?
You can say from 16 to 25.
Right. This is the people I live for.
Yeah, me too.
Number one is your belief. That's 100%. Right.
Hmm.
Number two, especially as the guy, is who you marry, who you are dating. Okay, you're 16, so who you are dating.
It's a big deal.
That's huge. That's it's not that you feel that you are better than, but when you know when you really know that God is inside you, you really see that there are not many limits.
It's
And
true.
who you're around, and you average it, is just who you're gonna be. I don't care if it's cousin. I don't care if it's someone as close as your mom, your sister. If Even if it could be your parents, if you've seen something in them that you don't want to be, like you don't want to be, let's say it could be womanizer, it could be alcohol, it could be whatever it may be. If you don't want that, you can find people that have those qualities that you do desire and just stick around them.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, you don't even have to be in your neighborhood, right? So that they could be online, they could be in books. That's where I found the best mentors in my life is in books. So that's number three. Yeah, and then number four, I would say are the books, right? So these are people who have they may not even be alive,
Yeah.
but you see a lot of the wisdom come from people who weren't alive. It's in a book, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many of these. And if you can surround your mind with that, it goes into a deeper part of you that now you start seeing your habits and your actions start showing it. And when that happens, you may separate from certain people who you absolutely love, but your mission is different. Right? I hope I'm still going in the same direction with this question.
No,
So
yeah.
deep, right?
Exactly right. Yes,
Right.
I
And
agree
then
with you.
okay. And the other one, if you the smartest person in your group, always you in the wrong place. You're not stretching. You want to be in areas where yes, you are helping folks, but you are consistently learning something. Like right now, I'm at I'm learning orthodontics. So I've been doing that the last 3 years.
Oh,
And I've come back to the same seminar 3 times because of the wisdom.
yeah.
Every time I come here, I feel something inside me, gives me more confidence to be like, I'm like, I can really make someone smile I can make them feel this much better. And I didn't touch this in dental school. So everything I do now, I didn't learn in dental school. It was afterwards.
Yeah.
Everything I do, right? So I would say those were the 5 if I answered the question correctly.
No, you definitely answered it. Look, there's no right or wrong way to answer it because it's based on you.
That's cool.
But I think that everything you touched on is important because honestly, I believe whoever you're around, the things you consume, stuff you
Yes,
watch,
everything.
it all goes into you and then you like filter it out. And so it's like you definitely have to be careful about what you consume, and that's people, everything.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I,
Hmm.
I love what you said about who you date and who you marry, because I really believe that like whenever a man finds his life gets like this much better
Oh yeah.
because pays attention to details, and it's like you just have an extra partner, to help
Yes.
you do what you need to do. So tell me about the lovely wife.
Oh yeah. That's the see when you said it, it brings chills on my back. So that's that's the best adult decision I've made beyond career, beyond all the successes and failures. That's the most important and best decision I've made. And it wasn't a quick decision
Hmm.
at all. You know it too. Like you helped me out with that too. Like during that phase of my period of my life. That's another thing I want to do though. Explain it is knowing who to listen to that's
Hmm.
around you,
True.
because you're gonna get a lot of different. I can get guidance from you. I can get guidance from someone else, and it's one little turn that can lead the direction of my life in a completely different avenue
True.
by listening to certain people in certain phases of your life. So that was huge. But back to my wife, when I say I have someone to support me, and I support her too, but um, sometimes I almost feel like, man, how did I even, how did she marry me? Right?
Why did she choose me?
Like, why is she choosing you? I think that sometimes because I'm really, I like to take risk. I like to explore, and she's such a calm spirit. It's like if you're on a boat and it's really like, you see the waves, you just had that person that's like, hey, it's gonna be fine. To the point where I'm like, dang, how are you like that? Then I'm like, okay, I know why. See where I'm going. And then I had to know myself, having self-awareness to know that, okay, this is who I am. So this is possibly the type of person who will be able to, match with me. Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like two, negative electrons or two negatives trying to go at it and repelling. It's like, this is a positive, this is negative. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Culture wise, being patient with me as I grow, as I learn how to communicate differently than what I saw, as I grow through like, career, as I go through being a father, just being a human, right?
Yeah.
It's having someone there that like, she brings up when I'm going way offline, and she's not afraid to do that, right? But then she also gives me space to grow.
Yeah.
And man, I'm like, wow, like I'm very blessed to have Michelle like as my wife, and then even now as the mother of my child, it's even more gratitude that I now have to. I'm like, dang, I didn't even know this. I'm doing something right. I know that for a fact. Something
Yeah.
happened right in my life in order for me to like have it. But it takes a lot of work. Like we work
Yeah.
on our marriage daily, hourly. We're working on,
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah,
That's so beautiful. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
her too. So
yeah. She's just an awesome person.
she is. She definitely is a calm spirit. Like every
Yes.
time I've seen her, it's always like always good vibes. Never
Yeah.
like I've never gotten any bad like attention from her or anything. She's a good
Right.
girl. I like
Yes.
her. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that y'all chose each other,
Mm.
and now y'all have this beautiful baby.
Yes.
So
Yes.
tell me how having the baby has enhanced your focus on legacy.
Ooh. Yeah, that's changed everything, especially having a baby in a year like 2020.
Yeah.
Everything and like everything you do and change. At least for me, if you really are aware of what's going on, everything changes. So
Yeah.
now I was like, what am I really doing? Was it to be a comfortable dentist and have a comfortable life, or am I here for something bigger than that?
Yeah.
And it's always that little voice that's telling you, man, you can do this or you can do more. Hey, this is what you really here to be doing. Yeah, you're making money here, but this is what you really here to be doing,
Hmm.
right? And when the child came out and you hear something breathing inside your ear, now you like, look, you can almost go crazy if you're not careful.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going? So
Yeah.
that's how it transformed it to where it's like, all right, I'm not only thinking about his legacy, I'm thinking about the legacy of his friends people he's going to be interacting around, his grandchildren, his great grandchildren. What could I do here now to now help that individual, right? That soul.
Yeah.
And yeah, it becomes to where now it's like, man, I won't just say yes and obey everything that I was told.
Yeah.
Right? That's the legacy. When I start reading about people, I'm like, man, they go against the grain in their time that they were living.
Always.
There's not one person you read about that was not going against what culture was currently saying was okay.
Yeah. I think people overestimate. They over exaggerate culture. Like it's like you don't have to like do what they say. It's a suggestion. This is a suggestion.
Yes. Exactly. That's a great way of putting it. It's a suggestion, but it doesn't have to be that, right?
It does not. It does not have to be that. And I think it's interesting, like when we travel through our life, we have the opportunity to live it the way that we see fit. And I'm not saying just like disregard everything your parents tell you. You take everything in and you consider it and take bits and parts that work for you.
Yes.
Versus just being like, oh, this is the blueprint. We just gonna follow this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because your results will be different. Yeah.
It's gonna be different. I love the word that you use when you say travel through life. I've never heard it in that context.
Yeah, I feel like we're not here. This is not home. So
no, it's completely not.
No, it's not home.
I love that.
I always say I'm a nomad. I always tell my friends that I'm a nomad. Like this is just the residing place right now. Like this is not home.
Absolutely.
So tell me what is your why? Like what's the ultimate why? And it can be a multitude of things. Like it doesn't have to be one thing.
Right. The deep core why is that the human, especially if they have a tent, understands their value while they're here in this world.
Yeah.
By any means, like they understand the value of who they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Okay. I'm a dentist, so I know I've seen I've actually gone inside the body and seen what's inside there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's giving me it's like when you travel, you get a whole nother perspective of what reality is, a different level of awareness, right? I've never seen a human being that doesn't eat through their mouth and the other part and the food come out through the other side. I've never seen a human being that eats through the other side and then it comes out through the mouth.
Yeah.
Which means it's the exact same thing. We have children, we love them. We want to do good for humanity. So my question was always like, okay, then why are these people doing this and then these people doing that? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's just an illusion as to what one group has made another group feel. And
that's a good question.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
And it's all the same. It don't matter what you come in looking like. You're not gonna like the needle when you go into a dental office. You still eat food through the same orifice. Everything, as soon as you cut right under the skin, it's all the same. Nerves going to different areas and giving it oxygen and supplying it in abundance. Your heart pump, you don't even see your heart, and that's what's kept you alive your whole life. People haven't even seen that,
That's crazy.
Over 100, hundreds of thousands of miles of vessels inside each human being, perfectly created just to keep them alive. And so I'm like, if you understand what we really like, who we really are, that message, I don't care what kind of limiting belief whoever was around you has, I'm here to break that.
Yeah.
And I don't mind getting uncomfortable doing that.
Look, I love the way you just explained that because, like, I think a lot of people take life for granted. Like, they don't realize that, we could be gone in a second. Like there's stuff flying in the air. We can't see it. Like, I'm amazed when I wake up every morning. I be like, oh, I made it another day.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm here. So I feel that wholeheartedly. And I do believe that self-awareness is the most important thing because to understand life is to understand that God is giving it to you, right? So it's like a whole nother level of gratitude when it comes to that because you're like, how can I be of service and fulfill the mission that you're giving me? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not
Yes.
even about like keeping everything for yourself. It's about being of service and doing, fulfilling his will.
Yes.
So,
100%.
because I don't
100%
have
agree.
time to get to heaven and God be like, you didn't do nothing I told you to do.
Right, right. Or you just did this much, like you didn't really understand what you were capable of.
Yeah,
That's the part for me.
yeah.
You just kind of just started coasting because it was like, hey, I'm 30, I'm comfortable.
It's easy.
It's
It's
so
easy to
easy
do
to do.
that. I know you mentioned earlier, you said something that made me think of this. Most people don't want to take on the challenge because of the responsibility, right? So
Mm,
it's like, I really feel like that's really the roadblock. It's not even necessarily that they don't believe that they can't do it. I think it's like, oh, if I show people I can do this, now I have to live up to this level.
that's good. That's
But
good, Katrina. Mm,
but if they really think about it, it's like it's not you doing it anyway.
mm,
Like we can do anything through him.
right.
So you don't want to take on that level of responsibility. But if you lean on God, it'll be easier to do it because you know it's not you anyway.
100%. I agree with that. Also too with that is, they say a lot of us die copies, right? Like
Yeah,
right now with level 27, you created something. A lot of us are
yeah,
here we're doing what society told us, what our parents told us, right? And when you now unlock your inner being, you listen to that little voice, and that little voice has been in you since you was a child,
yeah,
and you know it. If you can unlock and peel out all the layers, all the stuff that's been told to you, and grab a hold of that inner voice, the responsibility then becomes you really not doing it.
Ex-
It's not you, right? So
exactly.
so it's almost like it's not responsibility after that.
Right.
But here it is with the hardest part that I've seen. Katrina, I've always been the people pleaser. I've always been that student to make the A's. Whatever you told the child or the other kids to do, I did it.
Hmm.
I went over and beyond. And then I figured out that wasn't it.
It's not it. I was the same way, Chris. I was the same way. I didn't start actually. I always say that I didn't start loving myself fully until I turned 27. And that's when I started saying no. That's when I started doing certain things my way. And being a people pleaser only hurts you. It's like
Ooh, no,
that service is fine, but it has to be in containers. It can't be like, well, I'm gonna just give it all away because then there's nothing for you, and you're pouring from an empty cup at that point. So I feel you on that.
what you just said. And look, when you really are a people pleaser, when you really, really are, the hardest thing to do is to be the opposite of that.
Yeah,
Sometimes I feel you almost have to go all the way to the extreme just to get your mind out of, oh my gosh,
yeah,
what is my cousin gonna think if I say that? What is my sister? What is my mom gonna? What is my dad? That's my hero. Like, what's he gonna think if I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna do dentistry.
yeah,
You almost fighting an inner person, but when you can get to the other end of that fight and you don't give up, there's something that you unlock that There's certain people that know it because they live it and they call it.
yeah,
You got to help you. Now all you want to do is go back and help people get out of that prison,
yeah.
and it's not easy. People
It's
gonna
really not.
dislike you. You can no longer subordinate as you did to all the authority, especially human authorities in your life. That's a hard. Ooh.
It's hard. It is.
But, but once that part is unlocked and you now look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, nah, I love that person who's on the other side. I can post something. I don't care. I don't care who's looking. I know that where that's coming from.
Hmm.
It may hurt some others, but it's gonna help this other person I'm here to serve. This right here, that's when you unlock something inside you that's like you can't take it back. You become a new you,
Yeah,
and the world sees it.
and you can't cut it off either,
You can't
because
cut it off after that.
you can't cut it off. Like once
No.
you're absolutely correct. Like once you start like doing you and like that you're working in your purpose, you're
Yes.
gonna have to sacrifice a lot of things. Like, I mean, there's been things that I've said no to, and honestly, there's opportunities I could take to make me financially stable.
Yeah.
But my thing is I want to be always spiritually free. And for me, I'm not willing to trade my time for your financial stability. because I
Ooh,
know if I'm always gonna be okay. Like I'm not the richest person in the world. I still struggle with that and everything, but it's like I'm fine because God always supplies every time, like every
every
single
time.
time. So I'm good where I'm at, and I will continue to keep doing what I'm doing because I know I'm working in purpose.
That's it.
So
And I want to ask you, what did you have to sacrifice? What price did you have to pay in order to do this?
okay, so you say, let's see, I would say what society deems as what you should be doing at 33. I stayed at home because I'm
Ooh,
taking care of my mother. Like I have to be of service to my mother because she's not able to do
mm,
everything. So I sacrificed living alone.
mm,
I've sacrificed, I've put relationships to the side because for me, right now, it's not an option because I'm
mm,
so focused on what I have to do, and I know I can't pour into a relationship or fully give myself to a person. So I made the decision that right now is not the time, so I have to stay up the course on that. And then I would say financially too, because I've never had a professional job. Let's put it like that. I've applied for millions of jobs. I've never had a professional interview or job. I'm a contract worker at TCU. So I'm still temporary, you know what I'm saying? Like a temporary worker. I've never had a real job like that. So that shows me that God wants me to be an entrepreneur because I'm overqualified for everything I applied for. And it just means that I'm not supposed to have it.
that's it.
So
See,
I'm
wow,
like, I'm gonna sacrifice it now because I know my life is gonna be better
that's it.
when it's time.
100%,
But I have
100%.
peace though, and
There you
that is
go.
worth it.
Woo, you throwing gems. I mean, a lot of key words. Peace.
Yeah,
You made the decision. That's one of the. We're not taught to make decisions.
yeah,
We taught to listen to someone else's decision for our life and go with that, right?
yeah,
And when you said that word, decision, that means you cutting off some other things that you would have probably really liked in life or would have
yeah.
really helped you in a short term.
Mhm.
And those are things I feel like, people don't fully see. I
Yeah,
didn't fully see. I didn't fully see it as well. And now I see it. Now
yeah.
I really see it, right? So I commend you for doing this, Katrina. I
Thank
really do.
you. I
Yeah,
look, and that's why when people say stuff, I'm like, it's all him. Like I
yeah,
definitely am just following.
absolutely.
He making it easy for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
so
Thanks for following 100%, like 100, like for real, for real.
he saved me. I have no choice.
Good,
It's the best.
good.
That's the best decision. Like you said, the best adult decision. I loved how you said that because as a kid, we get pushed into religion and our relationship with God, but we never really build it because we haven't had a true encounter.
Right.
It's literally just like I go to church because my parents take me.
Exactly.
But when
Exactly.
you're an adult, you make the adult decision to build that relationship,
Correct.
and you
Correct.
have you have to make the decision for yourself. No one can make it for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely.
No one can make it for you. But let's talk about your purpose work.
Yeah.
Tell me about Visionary and
So,
everything you got going on.
yeah, visionary, a visionary is believing something before you see it. It's not seeing it to believe it. That's
Yeah,
where that's what the misconception I have. And then what I've learned is if something is written in ink, it stays after you. Like this body is so temporary, it really doesn't even exist if you really start getting into it.
yeah,
It's all spirit, it's all soul that's here. That's all we are. And we've always been here. We're just in this form now. If you
yeah,
really start reading, if you really study has been one of the biggest things, and not studying what they tell you to do at school, outside study.
yeah,
Because you have understanding. And all you do, my friend, gain understanding, right? Everything changes,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, I mean, let me go back to your question. Your question that you now, what's the question again that you told me to
Oh,
answer?
I was just asking you about your purpose work that you're
Yeah.
doing now.
So when I now understood that, I now started seeing humans. I've always had a knack for the younger generation because they're not as locked in to
Yeah,
status quo. They're still moldable.
yeah,
You know, if they want to be an astronaut, it's not like, oh no, it's too much. Oh, don't be. Oh, to go do this is safer. It's like, I'm gonna be an astronaut. It's
Yep.
easy to look at people going to the space easy now. Before you said someone to be an astronaut, you're like, oh my gosh, kid crazy. No, it's not crazy. So whenever there's a limit that someone puts on an individual, a whole soul, a whole spiritual being, like a child, my purpose now is to unlock anything around it that's limiting that spirit. I don't even look at them sometimes as like a human, because the human is it's just it's so earthly.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like, it's so earthly. I now see it as, okay, if this one individual does this one thing they're supposed to do in life, it creates this for these other people.
Yep.
It,
That's
and
it.
and it's compounded effect. Like, we just don't see it as much because we probably won't be here to see it.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing now, how I talk to my wife right now, is going to affect how Levi's friends will see how they can talk to their spouse. So
Yep.
if someone was talking to the spouse that I learned from in a way that was culturally based, not possibly correctly based, I found a way to change it in me. So hopefully it didn't change it in someone else. Is it hard? Yeah, every day I struggle. I have to report to a group if I start yelling, right? But
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's worth it for me, right? So my vision is really 10,000 people, especially kids, to unlock their mind so they can live a lot bigger than what they thought they can live,
Yeah.
abundance wise, in all things in life. It's not just financial. That one being something to where it's not a hurdle, but
Yeah.
to where that they now see, because after you get beyond financial, you now see there's something way bigger. I made so much money. I didn't know what to do with it.
Right. It's just
It-
money.
But the thing with it here was so important because of what we've seen money, what it's done to people that we've loved.
Yep.
So I'm so critical when I say it's just money, because I've been to Africa. Like, what I've seen is different than what people have seen.
Yeah.
At the age of 13, I've seen some stuff. I still go to counseling to get over it. After a civil war in Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
I can't unsee that. And then now I started understanding the reasons behind it. Now it's like I really need to go to counseling.
Yeah.
Right? So after, when I started processing these things, I now start saying, okay, after people get over this whole money hurdle and they actually experienced it, and they see at the other end of that it's nothing. It's hard to tell someone like money's not important when their parents had trouble, like they're working three jobs, raising all their kids in their lifetime. It's hard to tell them money ain't important.
Yeah. It's important. It's just the value you put on it. That's how I look at it, because
Yeah,
I get you. Go ahead and
yeah.
finish your thought though.
Right, because it's very, everybody has a different emotional impact when you bring up that word, which already
Yeah.
shows that it's something that's it's we should look at and approach and possibly uh think differently or have a different relationship towards it, right?
Exactly.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Because whenever I see non-for-profits or I see like charity, it's like, why is charity going towards people that look like me? Why are they charity? They're part of the GDP. That's like saying you're doing charity to a woman. We don't even calculate daycare. We
Hmm.
don't calculate food and cooking the food, the time it takes a lot for that. We don't calculate the time it takes to take children to school. All that's not in the GDP. It's not in what we calculate as the global economy. And that's some of the most laborious hours that people have put in, especially women,
Yeah.
since the beginning of time.
Yep.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So my whole thing now is the numbers matter big time. I've talked to kids, I do a lot of braces. So I've talked to kids, and what I do is I ask them, I say, hey, by the time you are 25, what would you want to earn? And here's the thing, when you don't know what you don't know, you will continuously do the same thing that you did not know.
Yeah.
And someone who I see is worth billions is telling me they want to make 60,000 in the next 7 years. Because they
Yeah.
don't know. Mom was making 30,000. Mom was making 40,000. Struggling.
Yeah.
And when you understand inflation and how money doesn't exist, it's just the money printed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now the kids need to know this, because I've seen kids come in that are in pain, tooth pain, bad. and mom can't shovel out $70. Nobody can tell me money ain't important no more.
Yeah.
I've seen some, you see where I'm going? So where my goal now is to make sure that people know their worth, their value economically as well, because that's the way that the world has now been structured at this point in time,
Yeah.
to where when that's understood, you can now better help certain people that you really want to help. You
Yeah.
understand you see where I'm going? So my purpose now is allowing kids letting kids understand their value monetarily, yes, but most importantly, listening to that calling that individual has and fulfilling that. It may not be that that person's meant to be very wealthy, no, but they're listening to that calling, and they're not allowing something as little as money or their neighborhood or how their parents grew up or how they grew up to limit them. I know it's a
Exactly.
long answer, but
No, it's
that's
a
where
good
you know
answer.
where I'm at. You see where I'm going?
It's a good answer because, like, honestly, like you said, the relationship with money. The reason I believe money is important because you need it to live, right? You have to have it to facilitate the things that you even have in your head. Like, there's ways to get some money. You know what I'm saying? I come from a single parent household, so I definitely can relate to everything you just said. Um, my whole thing is like the last part that you said. I don't want you to trade in your value for a dollar amount. If because that's basically like you're gonna be unfulfilled. So it's important for you to understand your value and understand like what your calling is so that you can be in that realm and not feel like you're less than because you don't make $1 billion.
Right, right. And
Like,
and I completely understand that. And here's my thing with it, because I read so much. So money is always. There's sometimes where oil and cocoa was the currency of their time.
yeah,
Right now, we can go to where another currency would be like a coin.
yeah,
But when you don't know where you are, when society is at that certain place,
yeah,
here's my thing. There's a lot of big hearts that play too small.
absolutely.
Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah,
And a lot of the times, resources can help exemplify that big heart. And
yeah,
let's be honest, we need more hearts inside capitalism. So,
true.
Katrina, I look you straight in my eye and I say, look, the people who are entrepreneurs are getting paid too little. And their personal standard, I absolutely, absolutely, with all my heart inside, must increase with the way that the world works.
True.
That's why even like level 27, if there's one person, Master P, I love following that type of person. You
Yeah,
see, because he gets where he he wants the value of these hearts and these people, the culture,
yeah,
to now get to receive for the value that they're putting out into the world.
yeah.
Whether it's art, whether it's music, you just see how our culture goes. In South Korea, they have hip hop everywhere they go. It's
Everywhere.
it's just the dressing. So you're like, how come this? Because we don't understand how to get compensation to receive.
Yep.
We know how to give, bro. Trust me. I've been seeing people that they give to the point where they got
Hmm.
this much water in the house. They're struggling to put food in the. You see where I'm going now? I get so passionate when we really get into this. I now start seeing. I'm like, man, this does matter. It's not the only thing, but we add that to the recipe of you growing into your purpose
Yeah. You
until
need.
it doesn't become it's obsolete. Money like it's obsolete. Your relationship with this in the world of money is obsolete. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Yeah.
It
So
made
that's
perfect sense to me. Yeah.
it's a tough combo,
It
but
is.
you
It
know,
is. I do agree with that we need more hearts in capitalism because like it's who else is gonna be their representation?
that's what I'm saying.
Who else is gonna be their representation? Like I haven't really told people this either. Like I'm about to go back to school soon to get my PhD to be a sports psychologist, right?
Uh-huh.
And my whole reasoning is because I feel like God is telling me like you have to grow with them. Like I heard that grow with them, and I was just like, I said I wasn't going back to school, God. Like why? Why? But when you said that, that made me think of that. It's like if we're not in the rooms, there's no way
That's it.
we can impact or like
That's
change the system.
yes.
So I'm like, you got to do what you got to do to infiltrate those rooms.
You see where I'm going? And
Yeah,
you bring your heart into that. But if money has to be a vehicle, then we learn that part.
yeah,
But we bringing our heart into because the amount of silent talents
oh
that
my
could be,
God,
whenever I pass Sam Houston, that's a place going towards Houston. I'm always between Dallas
yeah,
and Houston. Every time my heart, whenever I go through that city, I feel it. I'm like, bro, there's men inside that building. They never gonna see their children
yeah,
just because they were born in this city.
yep, yep,
Like that's the mistake that happened. They were born in that city, so a percentage of them are gonna go straight into that. That's how they built it. That's how they built this 13,000 inmates in one small town. Do you know how much potential?
yeah,
So now even my dad can tell me, hey, don't do that or be quiet, don't say that. Now I'm saying it.
yeah.
I'm doing it. You know what I
Somebody
mean?
has to say it.
Somebody
Somebody
got to
has
stand up for
to,
these people.
for real. Because I mean, and they're basically just making the money go around for other people. Because we're not gonna even get on that. Like they're working
Yes.
for nothing.
Ah, and there's investments going on
Yeah,
per each individual cell.
yeah.
Do you see where I'm going here?
Same stuff,
It's
different day.
you know what I mean?
Same
And
stuff,
someone got to
different day.
speak up. Look, don't get me started. We got to speak up. We got to go
Yeah,
against the grain, and that's where I am. That's where I am now mentally, and
yeah.
I ain't stopping for nothing.
No, you can't because, like I said, you can't turn it off.
No.
Once you've been unlocked to the call and you cannot turn it off, it's gonna be like a little voice right here, like, "Excuse
Ooh,
me, are you gonna do it or not?"
ooh.
You can't afford to not complete the task. Like I say,
Right.
I'm more afraid of not fulfilling the purpose or
There you go.
fumbling it. I'm more afraid of that than the fears that I have. So it's like I gotta go this way.
Mm,
So,
mm,
and I hope that everybody does that because at the end of the day, your circumstances really don't determine
at all.
anything. You just got to have the faith to have to see it in your head. You can
That's
see
it.
it, write it down,
That's
and then you
it.
start going towards it.
That's it. And that's that's where it comes to when you say you can see it, that visual, anything you can think of is already there.
Yeah.
And you can hold it in your hand. So
Mhm.
that visioneering, every day I wake up for the first 3 minutes before any negative thought, anything comes to mind, I just see it. I see wealthy, I see a whole family going to Tahiti and they're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And they look like they're black. Woo! And they can do that multiple times in a year.
Yeah.
And each of those people are living in their calling.
Yeah.
And I just visualize it and I already know it to be.
Yeah.
That's
And
just me personally.
it will come to pass.
That's it.
It will come to pass. We cannot afford to let our circumstances stop us from dreaming, and we can't be against us too.
Yeah. I always say to man that there's someone that's on the street begging, they actually are richer than me.
Yeah.
Because I leverage a lot of U.S. capital or debt in my businesses. So if you thinking about it that way, they're in a better position than I was. Especially when I was in dental school, I had like almost 200,000 or a big amount down
Man.
in the hole. I was like, they richer than me, but I'm in a car. So it's all in the mind. The
Yeah.
whole money part really doesn't exist. It's just in your mind.
Yep.
You see where I'm
Yep.
going?
Yep.
So
And it's interesting too how a lot of people who have a lot of money, like let's say they inherited the money,
yeah,
it's interesting how they can't tap into their imagination. And
correct.
that's why I always tell my students, I'm like, look, if you come from humble beginnings,
It's the best gift.
I'm not saying that you're better than anyone. I'm just
Right.
saying that you have a tried and true faith
Yes.
versus some people have not even tapped into it yet.
Right.
So if you look at that as valuable, it can really change your whole life because what you see is what you can have.
Absolutely.
And they're like,
Absolutely.
I never thought about that, miss. That's what they always say.
Yeah. So because they never thought it hasn't been taught to like see stuff before it's there
Yeah.
and hold that thought in your vision.
Yeah.
we haven't been taught to do that. That's a new thing for me.
Yeah, it's
You
not.
know.
We haven't been taught. We've been taught to love the money, love the cars, love the girls, love the
Yeah,
furs.
exactly,
That's what
exactly.
we've been taught. Music
Yeah,
videos, what we've been
you see,
exposed to.
exactly.
So of course they gonna want to shine, and it's okay to shine, but you need to actually be wealthy too.
Mm.
Like not just in money, in spirit.
In spirit, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's okay to want nice things. That's okay.
Oh, yeah. It is to eat good food, to have have
Yeah,
good things around you. Yeah, that's fine. But it's always deeper than that. Wealth comes in a lot of other places in your life for
it
sure.
does if you allow it to.
If you allow it to,
Like
gotta
if
be
you allow
willing.
it to.
That's it.
So I want to ask you, like, so explain to me what role God plays in your life.
Yeah, like God is inside me, so it's it's everything. One thing that happened in 2020 for me, because sometimes I give you know I give myself sometimes it's humans too much credit.
Hmm.
I don't care if it could be the pastor of my church. I don't care if it could be like the leaders in my church. And it's like 2020 really hit something deep inside me because I was like, man, this is I was looking at them as God. I was looking at a degree as God. All
Yeah,
this stuff. And I was like, wait, I just gotta die to myself.
yeah,
And then I
every
really
day,
see God
every
every
day.
single minute. Right. And then I really see like who God. And here's my thing. What I thought God was at even every time I had to renew my mind, I cannot conform.
Yeah,
And it keeps changing to me. Like God is not the people pleaser for me.
no,
He's the one in there causing ruckus. He's the one there coming into this place and being like, look, why y'all selling all that right here? Bro, I flip all that. Like, what y'all doing? That's the one I know. Not
yeah,
the one who's just saying hallelujah to say it. Oh boy, don't get me deep in this. That's the one who really sees the least of them and acts on it.
yeah,
So God is everything for me to the point where at this point now, me personally, I don't have to go telling people whatever I believe and stuff. Man. I
yeah.
don't have to do that anymore. Just look at my life after I'm gone and then decide whatever. It's not up to me to tell you. God's already decided all this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just here living where I'm supposed to be. I ain't worried about nobody else's how they do. I just want to do what I'm here to do and then go. That's it. But
because it's
for me,
already written. It's already written.
thing is already written.
Yeah, and He already told us that His plans for our lives is for us to be prosperous, and like good plans. It's not. I think people don't understand that the decisions that we make impact us more because we have free will.
Yeah.
So it just changes the direction, but you're ultimately still gonna get to where He told you you're gonna go.
I mean,
'Cause,
yeah. There ain't no beginning, ain't no like.
yeah,
We just here for such. It really doesn't even exist of time when you really look at what time really is, because it's
yeah,
always been, right? So it's like, all right, I'm here. That's a whole deeper conversation because I've seen some stuff too, Katrina, on the other sides of the world that a lot of
hmm,
people like here have not seen,
yeah,
especially when it comes to where everybody looks the same and there's two different religions. I've seen
yeah,
I've seen some stuff to a point where I even prefer racism to some of that other stuff.
yeah. I can understand that. I can because you've been exposed to it, and it does
It
change the way that you see
it
things.
changed everything. Like, bro, it could be nasty. So
Yeah,
like, it's no longer my position. That's something where I have my faith, and I just do what I'm here to do.
yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
exactly. Well, I want to add. I got like two more questions.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Man. This is the highlight
So,
of my week. I'll be honest with you.
oh, that makes me. I'm
Of
happy to
my
talk to
probably
you
of, the,
too.
of my month. Of my month. Of my month.
I enjoy sharing time with like-minded individuals. And like when I
Absolutely.
was getting ready for season 2, I was like, I have to get Chris on here. Like
I
I have to
appreciate
get
that.
Chris.
I
'Cause
really do. I
I'm
appreciate
very proud of you. I know that you've
it.
done a lot of evolving. Like you can
Yeah.
see it. And just like
Yeah.
you just said, like when I'm gone, you'll see.
Yeah.
You can talk about me and what my life was and who
Exactly.
I serve. You'll see who I serve by my actions.
Correct.
So I just
Correct.
want to live it out. I don't want to just speak it. But yeah.
That's it. That's it.
So my next question is, how do you define success and happiness?
Success is just following that inner voice. it's always been tapping on you. It's always been tapping on you since you was like a kid.
Yeah.
It's crazy, since you was a child. God sees you as, from when you're a kid, he already sees you as when you're old and frail. He's already
Yeah.
seen that. He's already seen the hair, how it's gonna, so success to me is answering that call, like that ideal of you, of your highest being in this earth, and just following it.
Yep.
You don't have to be all fast. You don't have to do it like this or like that. Just going towards that direction.
We have the
if
same
you're an artist, do it.
definition, Chris. Oh my God.
That's all it is. Like,
Follow the
I mean,
voice.
what else? What else you gonna do when you're here? You're just gonna like listen to the news and put yourself in mental health issues the whole time you're here. Like, it's not sustainable while
It's
you're
not.
here. So you might as well close your eyes and really hear what their voice is telling you, and just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna follow." Like for real, gonna follow. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then happiness is very transient, But I feel like if you just do that first thing, you can find happiness along the way, as you follow that. But you won't know what happiness is unless you know what sadness is. Like everything is a pole. There has to be up and down and in and out. There's a hot and cold. Everything has its pole of opposite. And to know one, there has to be the other. So
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, happiness looks like this. That's what it looks like. It's not just like this. It's not linear. So,
yep. Happiness can shift at any time, like you said, and I think everybody's chasing happiness when they should be chasing joy.
Right, because there's a big difference. Correct.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
I even heard that from Matthew McConaughey, the first time, I think. I did. Big difference between joy and happiness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like in marriage, people are like, I'm supposed to be just happy. I'm like, nah, that ain't it. You trying to do that, then you might as well not get married then right now. You ain't ready then.
You're not ready.
Ain't ready.
I want to say this real quick. A lot of people say, like, some people have this mindset that when they get married, that person's going to make them whole. And I always say, no, you kind of should be whole before you get there. Like, it should be two wholes coming together, or as whole as you can be, right?
Right.
So I want to ask you, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because
That's
a lot of people don't think that.
I honestly don't even feel out like I will be whole until I go like meet God.
Yeah.
You see, so like the whole like it just keeps awareness just keeps opening up and up and up. Like right now, I'm learning. Like even when I read Bill Gates or Melinda Gates' book, I'm learning like the role of what I thought masculinity and malehood, like what a man is. I'm learning different layers. Like now, a man to me is like I'm waking up my son. I'm the one bathing him at night. I'm changing his diaper. I spend at least 2 hours in the middle of the day with him. The whole thought of what man should just do, just go work and bring money back. That part of me has changed, and that's making me more whole when I now see that. Nah, this is not the role that I had to be, or I have to play to be macho and beat my chest.
Yeah.
Like, when he cry, I'm gonna cry too. Like
that's pride. That's pride.
Right on.
Like, and I do. That's why I say I agree with you when you say you won't be whole until you meet God. That's why I say be as whole as you can be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because people
100%.
really feel like that that ring is gonna change your life, and it is gonna change your life in a sense. But you need to be able to like be open and honest with the person that you're with, and you can't do that if you still have walls.
There you go. That's a really good piece of advice. Is being who you truly are, because eventually it's gonna come out regardless.
Oh yeah, it's gonna come out.
Okay, especially in marriage. Yeah, 100%.
It will ooze out quickly.
Yeah, 100%.
That's so funny. Well, my last question is: if you knew then what you know now, would you change anything?
Absolutely not, because I won't be who I am today if everything didn't happen exactly how it did. I won't be here. I won't have this awareness. Last year was the hardest year for me. It was also the best year.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going? And this year, I've made the least amount of money I've ever made since I've been a professional, and it still is my best. It's my best year.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going?
That's so real.
I sold everything I had. I got about 5 sweaters, 3 sweatshirts, same raggedy old shoes, Kia, and this is the happiest. This is the happiest I've really been. Like, this is the most joyous I've been
There it is. Yep.
because I know like why I'm like for real living
Yeah.
without like just the influences of my life telling me what I should be and should do. So yeah,
It's a
100%.
beautiful, beautiful feeling when you reach
Yeah.
that point. And
Yes.
I pray that for everyone.
Y- y-
I
But you
really
know, I've
do.
been praying that now I'm trying to live that for everyone.
Yeah.
And this is
We
where
need an example. You gotta be an
that's it.
example.
That's it. And woo, I know we're about to finish, but this is what
You're
I'm
good.
living for. Okay. I don't know how long, but look.
Oh no, you're fine. I was
Okay.
being mindful of your time.
No, I could be here all day. I'm not even joking. This is what I've seen the most. Because, you know, I've always been that kid where the parent would come ask me, hey, go talk to my kid so they can be like this, so they can go get a doctorate degree, so they can go, you know, do good in school. You right?
Yeah.
You know, I even used to do all the Sunday schools. I used to do, you name it, right? I was there, the Sunday camps. And then I started realizing, I was like, man, so the parent trying to get the child possibly to be someone like they're not, that they want it to be,
Yep.
right? And if you even go to a neighborhood, you would see that there's a culture in a neighborhood. Like people think this way. People's credit scores around this, like these type of jobs they go get, right? And one of the biggest things is when I moved away from my environment temporarily, something else, I now started figuring out what I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Man, just because I make, like, this is a big one, because I make money doesn't mean the woman I have has to be lighter skinned.
Yeah.
I had to come to the realization of that because it was a force.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, I'm attracted to like the most, you know, I don't know, black African. That's just what the most natural hair. I don't care if it's natural. I love that so much. I don't want anybody to like direct my mind because of a culture where I'm at, right?
Yep.
And so here's the thing: when you now are breaking someone out of their environment that wants to be in a different place, there is a lot of friction.
Always.
And here my thing is that people don't go back because of the friction. I am here to pull that other side. And that right there is going to take people thinking of me differently. It's going to take old friends. I don't care if it's from church, from fraternities, from dental school, my professors, all of that. As long as I know that for this individual that really is going with their calling, that I can help them get to that other side to where it's no longer that pullback. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
That's it. Because I mean, I think the reason why we probably are so passionate about working with the youth, like you said earlier, they're not in a space where they're locked into their ways. Like they really are the most free. Like old people and kids are like the most free people in the world. They tell you what they want to say.
That's
They
so
don't think
true.
about no regard for anybody.
It's that middle ground.
It's
Ooh.
beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I always be like, I can't believe God trusts me with them. You know, like it's like you trust me to like it's an honor to be a part of their process. I really feel that like it's an honor to be a part of that because you really have to understand that you have the opportunity to really influence them in a major way to help them become who God is calling them to be.
Yes.
So I mean, you just have to it's just hard. Like you just gotta really like talk to God about that's why you have to go to him every time and
Exactly.
understand what's going on.
Exactly. Because and I like how you said because there's so many variables at times. And I have to be careful too, because sometimes I can be, man, this kid's 17 years old, they want to do this, but then parents want them to do this. And I get why the parent wants them to do that. Like I understand in 100%. And so it even makes it to where I'm like, okay, that's where I need to back off now.
Yeah.
That person is still going through that with their parent. Possibly when they're 24, 25, if ever they need to now have, come and ask me for help or ask me for some certain things to do, investments, whatever it may be, then it'll be the right time to do it. So really getting centered with God to know that, okay, am I doing this at the right time?
Yeah.
and let me do it at your time and versus when I just think, with ambitious people, that's one of our things.
Yeah.
Just going, 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 going. We have to kind of say, okay, well, how about with that? Okay, that one's not right. Okay, I'm listening. I won't go. I won't do that at that point in time. Let me go back over here and do it.
You
You know
gotta
what I
fall
mean?
back for real.
At time, you do, and I've learned that, and that's actually one of the newer things that I've learned now that I've been in this new phase of growth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You definitely have to listen because you want to be in the right timing because life is all about timing. Like you want to be in the right place at the right time and make sure that you have that favor because you need it. We need it.
You have to have it.
I gotta have it. So like
absolutely.
I'm just the vessel.
Here my thing. I invest a lot. When I say I invest a lot, I don't buy houses and stuff. I don't buy cars. But I invest in my mind. So I invest in coaches.
Yeah.
And they taught me the like wisdom, like how to do treatments. People are scared to say to do certain treatments. They taught me how to just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rapidly grew in the middle of in 3 years. And I was doing what really a 60-year-old dentist would do.
Wow.
As far as income, I made a lot income, how to lead staff. My staff members are better than me.
Mm-hmm.
That you see
and they
that
should
one,
be.
And they should be. They're
Mm-hmm.
smarter than me. They call me out and that's what helped me. What helped me grow is me seeing my weak points. It always does.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to it versus running away. So after I saw that, and I was like, so I'm just here. I got everything I need and more. And then what?
Yep.
That was and then I heard the children kept, I did a lot of braces. So every time I'm seeing kids, I'll listen to them. And I'll listen to the parent. And I'll listen to them. I'm like, all right, it's been since I was a kid, this calling here has been since I was a kid. One of the big ones for me too is bringing African kids and African American kids together, meaning I am going to take African American kids and take them to the soil so they can just pick up the dirt of where they're from.
I love
everything will change for that child.
Absolutely.
Their last name won't be what they think it. They would now say, "Oh my God, something else existed before me, before the U.S. This is new. The U.S. is it's only 400 years. This one is new."
Right. We were
not
Africa, here. We're not born here.
You see what I'm going? People go to Rome and they're like, man, Rome is old. I'm like, oh, go to the motherland. This is where it starts.
Yeah.
That's where all these this is old. That's why I'm like, if only those people wrote, if only those people put their visions in ink.
I wish.
Or you see where I'm going? That everything would be different. So now I'm so hyper. Like my wife, she's an artist. She's a writer. She has a vision for what her. If she tells me she needs to write, I carry my boy. I don't care if my boy is feeding on his mom. I carry my boy, and I'm like, Michelle, go wherever you need to go. Go to your what? And I don't take that. I don't take that lightly. In my household, I don't take if the vision calls, I don't take it lightly from anyone. So
you can't afford to. I will say this: I would love to go to Africa, and I want to know. I really want to know what's all up in here.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
They have that one DNA test.
Ancestry or something.
They have the African one too. Apparently, they can track it back to what tribe and everything. So I'm like, how do y'all do this? But I want to do it because I need to know. Yeah. I need to know because that's something I really feel like will unlock a whole nother level of power because it's understanding your identity on that level. I'm like, man, it'll change everything.
Man, they always say to know where you're going, it makes sense to know where you're from.
Yeah.
And I get that. You can't really jump unless you started from somewhere, like a ground.
Yep.
You can't jump if everything is negative. You just kind of in the air. Yep. So when you really kind of know, you have that idea, it's a different level of certainty that someone walks with.
We're the only people who don't have it.
You see them, and that was purposely. So those are the things. Those are the inner things that it's always been. Because I'm like, why do we act this way? Like my dad is so they have a whole language and stuff, right? But then the kids who look like me here, it's different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but we're the same thing.
One just was raised in a different place than the other.
That's it.
that surroundings has like poured their different influences in you.
That's it.
That's it. So you can unlearn anything.
Everything. Matter of fact,
So
if I'm not unlearning something, I know that something is wrong.
yeah,
Like even what I know right now is only at this level of awareness. There's something way deeper I still don't know, and I'm looking for it always.
always. That's probably a major key though that we could tell the youth. It's like always stay curious and act on their curiosity. Like, we're taught that curiosity killed the cat. But it's like, no, you need to like dive deeper to figure out for yourself what it is, because it's just important.
Katrina, now that you brought that up, let me show you an example of that in the healthcare. Like when I'm studying in school, you would have certain numbers that you memorize for certain like for human beings
Hmm.
that you actually go now and take that into practice. Like when you're doing treatments,
Hmm.
those numbers are based on a certain demographic. So if I'm treating you, it's not the same amount of roots that I study inside you. I'm going inside there. I'm like, it's 3 in here. It's not 4.
That's
I look
crazy.
at someone else that come in like you. It's 3 in there, not 4. So don't, even if I have to study it and do it on a test, don't mean it's right.
Right.
So always question.
Always question.
If not, we continuously die earlier. We continuously get the less treatment. And what I've learned, people have this inside them. They have that questioning, but they're so afraid to let it be known.
Yeah.
You see, and you think, oh, you have to be a doctor to come in and switch the way research is. No, you don't. You could be a 12-year-old kid.
Yep.
12-year-old kid can come in and be like, look, that's not the amount that was on that lady. So that's why her root canal's failing every time before that lady's fails. What's wrong? Tell the kid that. Not the adult. They're not going to change. Tell the kid.
They're definitely not going to change.
You see where I'm going?
Unless you
it
have an
paid them.
out-of-body experience. That's the only way.
You see where I'm, and that.
That's the only way.
But here's what I've learned. Katrina, I could be on this all day with you. There is a way for adults to change.
Yeah.
First, they got to be. Why are you shaking your head like you like riding the track?
I'm just laughing because it's funny.
There is, and it deals with repetition and really entering your subconscious mind. But it has to be an emotional impact.
Exactly.
That or very elite level coaching, because like you got to space out the repetition of you relearning a habit.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of work. Like I've been doing it. It takes a lot. Not everybody's going to be willing to do it. But a child, you're right, is less formed, less developed. So I'm saying this to say I don't just give up on adults.
Oh no, don't give up.
Because I used to want to try, especially like my family in Africa. I was like, I would give up like that. That'd be my children that go help them.
Listen, I'm done. I got it.
I'm gonna stay here with this part, with this one that I can help, and work on this one here. It's a little easier for me at this point, you know. But it's possible to still change, you know, as an adult. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things if we can do it. You know,
you can do it. You can do it. That's why I say you gotta have an out of body experience. Like you gotta see it. You gotta see like, ooh, the whole picture. Like what you doing?
I see what you're saying. Like stepping out of yourself to look at your
Mm-hmm.
And it takes other people to do that for you, to help you.
Oh, definitely.
Look at those things about yourself. Yeah.
Because you need that. Because even if a kid tells you that, you're gonna. A lot of parents and people still look at their kids as subordinate, like under them. You know, so it's like the kid probably telling you the truth. Like you might want to listen, but since I'm the parent and you're not,
you see where I'm going, and you know this. You know that's especially in our culture. It's heavy.
Yeah, do it because I told you to.
That's it.
But tell them why.
There you go.
You gotta tell them why, because if you don't tell them why, they're still gonna do it the other way.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
I love these kids.
Good.
That's why I love kids so much, because it's just like easy. Like if you show them that you're not gonna give up on them, if you like, because a lot of them will push you away. But I'd be like, you messing with the wrong one. I'm not going nowhere. So you might as well just go ahead and stay here and let me help you, because I'm not gonna be ran off. So just know I know what you're doing. But I tend to work with kids that they deem as the bad kids. I don't put labels on kids because I think that's ridiculous. But I like to work with those kids because I was that kid. You know what I'm saying? So I come from they are the same kid that I am. I am that same person. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I approach it differently because I know what they're dealing with.
And you know what? I could actually remember a conversation I had with you. I'm trying to remember the restaurant. I want to say it was it's not the one at IHOP because that was way after. This was
Okay.
probably about 8 or 9 years ago. I'm not joking. This is before I married Michelle, and it was in Arlington.
Was
And
it?
it
It
could have
wasn't Cheddar's, was it?
it could have been Cheddar's or Olive Garden.
We always at Cheddar's.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was just you and I. And
hmm
and that day you told me you're gonna coach, and I think you're already even working for like a youth group or something.
hmm
It was some type of thing you already, and it was already there from that day.
Yeah.
And so when I now see it, we're almost a decade out. It was more than 8 years ago, actually. A decade out, and I see you still in that. I already know you're not gonna leave that kid.
Oh no.
Be- so you see how we attracted each other.
Yeah. Yep.
When it's always in there, it's always in there. But it's like we gotta unwrap. Like we have to take. And I really believe everybody has this. There's
Everybody
something
does.
inside. Every human, they have something inside,
They
And so it's
do.
like for them not to be a copy, for people like us to continue on that mission until we just open up everybody to that calling inside.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. Oh yeah, that's why I'll stay here until 9 o'clock if I had to. Not now that I know what I know because I know what you're doing.
Yeah. It's like
You know what I mean?
it's kind of like bondage. Like I think
Yes.
some people like your experiences and just stuff that you've been through in your life. It wraps up your gift every time. Like it wraps it up, right? And so it's just
Oh,
tight.
that's a good way. I need
You
to
can't
take
break
some
it.
notes.
You need to take some. But it's real though. It's like bondage for real. Like everything you go through, especially the bad stuff, it's like it just wraps it up and it just like closes off every time. And so you feel like
Closes.
you can't do it because you're in these circumstances, but it takes that faith to break through that and people to help you peel it back, like you
Yes.
said earlier. So it's
Yes.
real. That's what drives me. Like the light bulb moment is my favorite part of my whole like seeing
I
people
love
have
that.
that light bulb moment is like
Yes, that breakthrough. Oh my
they believe
gosh.
it. Oh, they believe now. That's so good.
Like they for real believe it.
Yeah.
It's not like now you going to Sunday school right now. It's like, oh, this is what I learned from Sunday. They just keep and oh. Their eyes get
Yeah.
like this. I'm like, that's it.
They excited.
That's awareness. Yeah.
Yep. And as soon as they had that moment, I always tell them though, look, now that you've been exposed to it, understand that it comes with a level of resistance and joy. So you have to be willing to deal with the resistance just like you deal with the joy. You can't choose because most people just gonna choose joy.
Ooh.
So I'd be like, no, you gotta be ready for both because when you're trying to change something, resistance is real. So
Resistance is you making it. You see the thing with Katrina? You make something sounding like because you gentle the way you talk. It's like Michelle. It sounds real gentle, like it's. But when that resistance comes,
it's real. It's real.
When that resistance, and you will feel like you in the valley at times.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Everything will feel like it's against you, and that's the right place.
Exact place you need to be. Yep.
That's where you got to keep going, and like that's where you don't retreat.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get to that next level of it, and then you want to go find the next resistance. You start like looking for resistance.
Yep. That's just like you just said when you said earlier that God comes in and he shakes things up. That's the resistance. It's like that's what's gonna shave off that bondage.
That's it.
That's what the resistance shaves off the bondage. And that's the only way I'm able to get through difficult stuff. Because I'm like, I know it's temporary. Like I know it. So it's just like he did it before, he'll do it again. And I'm just gonna be a little vessel. And we're gonna keep it moving.
Man, that's it.
Keep it moving.
Wow.
What would you let me ask you this? Do you think you have a hard time or have had a hard time receiving like from other people?
It's still the thing I have to work on right to this day.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one. Make sure I wasn't the only one. Because look, that's the hardest thing for me.
Ooh. Even this morning I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
This morning I was thinking about and I even posted something I said to increase your prices. And that's so much resistance when I said that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw who responded, you see, I was like, man, I have a friend who does roofs.
Uh-huh.
That boy be out there in the snow. I'm like, dude, go home, bro. What you trying to slide off? Yeah, he has his staff members, everybody in the snow doing roof with him.
Lord Jesus.
And you now start seeing that, like, what he's getting compensated for what he's doing. Some of the people I grew up with, the teachers I had, that just, they taught me so many, and I saw what they got compensated. I can't even, Katrina, I have to like mentally like get help for this stuff.
Yeah.
Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
And I see a lot of it. I'm like, I know you can give, but allow yourself to graciously receive
Yeah.
love, receive a different level of respect from your spouse, from the people you're around. That is the hardest part for a lot of us.
It is.
You want to receive just that little bit that's going to get you that little bit more just to go that next day. You know, it's an abundant, bro. No tree is ever planted is like, bro, I'm just going to grow as minimal as I can.
Right. I'm just going to be this little tree.
It's going to be this little tree. No oxygen is going to be, I'm just going to be in this little corner. It's like, I'm going to disperse. Everything is for expansion and fuller expression of itself. There is no true limit. Like, we haven't even, within this world, we haven't even, gotten to a lot of parts of the ocean.
Nah. It's so much world though. It's so much out there. It's so much out there. And it's like I don't understand like how you cannot want to like explore it, because it's like I refer to kids as world explorers, because it's like you have to let them go do. Just because you didn't get to do it does not mean that they can't do it.
There you
So
go.
let them go.
And you can't get afraid all the time of them being hurt.
Yeah, they're gonna get hurt, but that's gonna help them.
That's it. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you have a child. Ooh.
Yeah, but you have to, this is why I love my mom so much, because my mother definitely, what I say is she never like limited us. Like, she encouraged imagination and she supported it. And she was like, I'm going to teach you what it is, like from my experience, I'm going to teach you as much as I can to prepare you for it. Then I'm going to let you go make your mistakes and you're going to deal with the consequences.
Absolutely.
So she really like equipped us with what we needed. Like the backpack analogy. She gave me my backpack and told me to go do what I want to do. And no matter how crazy the idea is, Chris, she hears everything in its rawest form. Like, I'm like, boy, I would be tired of me at this point. But she just takes it, and then she'll be like, well, whatever you want to do, I support you. But know that there's gonna be resistance.
Exactly.
Enjoy, and you have to make sure that you're ready for both. And that's just it.
So good. So good.
So I'm grateful for her, because it could be, I could have a parent that doesn't support me. You know what I'm saying?
You know where that goes too.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, and growing up in a single parent household, like obviously my father wasn't there, but now it's like, I feel like God is testing my wills to be like, are you going to like hold that against him? Are you going to be open? So I basically like in 2020 was a year of release for me. So I'm like, I released everything.
What a word.
I wrote that man a letter. I talked to him. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm letting you know that I have no ill feelings for you. So if you want to build the relationship, it's up to you. And I mean, I feel like we're taking baby steps, but I understand that I have to honor that man too, because he did help give me life. So it's like, parents are your parents. You just gotta like love them and do what you can to try to make them proud. That's it. That's all you can do. But you cannot like throw away your purpose for your parents.
What you just said, I commend you so much for. When you even said the word release, I felt it in my skin.
Yeah.
Man, because I know there must have been so much, there possibly was like a lot of hurt behind that statement. And all the way up until this time, into 2020. So for you to even allow yourself to be able to write a whole letter and release, even if it's just like a little bit of it, that right there just said to the world, look, I really am living in faith. And you are truly, like, as hard as it is, learning to forgive a little bit. So your healing then is going to help another heal who's just around your aura, your being. And so, like, I know, I really commend you for doing that.
Thank you. I received that. Yeah, I had to. Because at the end of the day, it's like you
Man.
you can't move forward holding that stuff.
Whew.
I just don't want to be. I don't want anything like that's gonna hold me like
Come
that.
on. Come
So
on.
I just like it. How hard is it for me to forgive him? Like when God forgave me for everything. So
Man.
I just, but I'm happy that I did it. And like I said, it's a process every day. You know,
Of
trying to
course.
build.
Of course.
But I mean, I at least extended the olive branch, and that's it. That's all I can do. That's what I can control. You know.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Man,
yeah,
that's huge. You know that you said that too is another thing because I've seen the value of parenthood, and I don't know how. After I'm would leave out my son for 3 hours, I get fatigued as if I was at a gym.
oh,
So when I now see a mother, and I'm like, they have three of these things.
3 of them. Whew.
Like, what the heck? How they? I'll be honest. I'd be like, how they didn't throw one of them people out or like not like really hurt them before they got to age 18. I really think that. I'm not like because I'm like the inner feeling I get when I'm like, okay, I fed you, I did all that, and you still making this noise.
Yeah,
Imagine when that baby start talking back to you.
yeah,
They at 13, and you don't like do something back that can really mess that.
yeah.
You
You
know
be
what
ready. You be ready to hurt them. You be
so
ready.
I know. And so when I see that now, I'm like, it's even my duty too as well to show other guys that look like me how to stay in a sustained relationship that is continuously growing, how you continuously water that seed of marriage. Because when you really understand marriage, it's one of the most beautiful things this earth like provides.
Yes, I
Like I
love.
can't wait to get home. I
I
can't.
love to
My
see it.
my house is like it's peace. God, and I'm like, man, I don't want people to. I work on it, and
Yeah,
if I'm messing up, I want to be called out. And I want other guys, especially if they're young, because when they're young, it's easier to like train them on this. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Because you get to that, even you get to college level, and you already start getting into you've experienced stuff and all that. You went to parties, fraternity. It can switch you up real quick,
yeah,
and it stays inside you, and you now carrying that into marriage, and you see what I look at the results, and I've seen now what's happening. So I'm like, all right, how do I interrupt that?
yeah.
And so
And
my thing is to increase that percentage of marriage amongst our community too as well. And I'm
we
doing
need
that
to
through
see
the,
that.
the guys. 100%. 100%.
We need to know that it's possible and it exists.
I
Because I
mean,
mean, we already know that
ooh, I
there
like when
was
you
a
said
whole.
that.
For we do, we need to know that it exists, and like the same way that you want to talk to the men is the same way that I want to talk to the women when it comes to, or the girls when it comes to understanding that your singleness is not a plague. It's not a bad thing. You know, it's a good thing because
That is
this is
huge.
where you really find out who you are, what you like, building your values, like setting your
Yes.
morals, your standards, and
Yes.
you actually you get to build. This is the most time you'll ever have, ever,
Yes.
like by
Yes.
yourself. Because once you get married and have kids and stuff, you have other responsibilities too.
Absolutely.
So take advantage of that singleness because I mean this is the time when you really step into yourself. So
Absolutely.
I enjoy it, and I'm going to wait on the right person because it's just pointless for you to just be in like, well, for me, let me speak for me. It's pointless for me to be um to communicate and deal with people that I know are temporary. Like if it's not something I feel like it's gonna be long term, like heading towards marriage type of thing, like I'm not gonna dedicate the time and everything that I need to build it
Yeah.
if it's
You're
already
right.
looking temporary at the beginning, like
Yeah. You
what
good.
I look
That's
like.
good. That's smart. Nah,
But it's an
absolutely.
investment, you know?
Yeah, the biggest investment.
It's the
Yeah.
biggest
That's
investment ever.
of your adulthood life. Yes, it is. Because you spend the most time with that individual. So
You're
it,
gonna
it is the big, yeah,
procreate with this person.
man.
These are your kids.
Think about
Like,
that investment. See, if you're really trying to get to investment wise,
yeah,
talking about like, okay, your children gonna have children to have the children to have children. There is no other because that's lasting here, but beyond us,
yeah,
beyond the economy.
yeah.
You know where I'm going? Th-
Legacy is important. Like to
That's it.
me, that's the one thing I'm like, man, if I got in all this debt. I'm the first person to go to school in my family. I'm like, look, I did it the absolute wrong way. I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? So
None of it. All of us
none of
struggling.
y'all are going to be in debt after me. Like
Correct.
none of my cousins are in debt. I'm like, y'all
Good.
not supposed to do this. We're gonna do it
Good.
the right way.
Wow.
But it's about legacy, that legacy mindset. Because if you don't have
Absolutely.
that, you're gonna just lead the next generation into the same mess. And it's just
Right.
gonna keep going. It's gonna be a
It-
cycle.
exactly.
It's
Mm.
scary, but
Mm.
you can do something about it. We all have the power to do something about it. So
Yes. Yes. Whenever you you do it too. You actually think outside of your four walls.
I have
And,
to.
and not everybody thinks that.
Yeah.
It's kind of even within our culture to say, "Man, I'm about me and my family," and I get that to
Yeah.
an extent. But I got there, and I was like, "No, wait. That means this whole time they told me to do this just so me and these three people can live this way."
It's by design though, Chris.
What? Like, how come though?
I'm
Like,
talking
where?
about in culture. That's by design. Because
It's
look at it like
design.
this. How did they don't want I hate to sound like this, but it's the truth.
Uh huh.
The overall they don't want to see us in a seat of power. It's like,
Yes.
okay, the easiest way, I forgot the man's name, but they said they went and surveyed Africa and they told them the only way to break this culture is to take their family away, like to
There you go.
take their names away from them,
You
to
already
strip
know
them
it.
of everything.
You already
So
know it.
it's by design. They
It
studied
is.
us and they
They
know that
studied.
we're strong naturally. So that's
Correct.
what makes me laugh because it's like, I'm gonna speak to black people because we're black. Okay, look,
Yeah.
very strong naturally. God gave us it. It's given. It's a
Like,
given. We do stuff under under duress. Like we don't have the money, but we still make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like the amount of
uh,
creativity,
you
like
know,
it's natural.
even our skin can deal with
Yeah.
more rays of the sun. You know how powerful the sun is? It can deal with
Yes.
more of those rays. This is the
Very
beauty of this.
resilient people.
Yeah.
And if you take resilience and then you add
It's
practice
too
and
much.
study to it,
It's too
and you
much.
actually put that together and like you actually work towards it, you're unstoppable.
I
So
get
what's
it.
the best way to break them? Put them in impoverished situations, break
Yes.
their families, make them hate each other, make them hate themselves,
There you
and
go.
that's it. That's the formula.
That's it. That's it.
So we really don't have to have everything. Like God already gave it to us. We just need to believe it and actually go towards it.
That's the key. And
Yep.
you just said it. My whole thing is, if you're gonna believe it, like really believe it.
Yeah.
Like,
Can't be halfway in it either.
it doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
You know, because when trials come, it's so quick to see. You're gonna retreat. Even with
Yep.
me, when the trial came, and I was doing just like clinical, like something like dentistry,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but I'm just doing this because I have to. Kind of,
Mm-hmm.
it's cool and all, but how does it make sense to to wait to somebody to come in that already has a problem and then make money off someone that has a problem? It's absurd.
Yeah.
You like, how
Yep.
come they're not paying me to be in the schools teaching people how to like not get cavities? How come they're not in the school telling me, okay, this is how you don't have Reese's and Snickers and Dr. Pepper at the front of every grocery store so the kid ain't like all these. It's so backwards. And you
Capitalism.
and if you get out of what you really are doing and you see what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, you would kind of be like, dog, you were crazy that whole time of your life.
But you learn something. If you weren't there, you wouldn't have
I,
even gained the
yeah,
exposure.
but think a lot of people, I could have been. I was like, if not for COVID, though, I probably would have been there. Like that's just would have been my reality. If not
Yep.
for I would have been like, well, this is how it was supposed to. This is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. But that's why I'm grateful for 2020 because it's like, look, now
Yes.
I will say this.
Hmm.
2020 has been a difficult year, period.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody has been hit in different types of ways, but
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
always a silver lining in every negative.
Everything.
And I think God pressed pause just to be like, look, I'm gonna give y'all a chance to get it together. Like this is how I talk to God. God talked to me like this.
There you
Like
go. There
you're
you
gonna get
go.
it together. Because I'm
Yes.
pressing pause. I'm giving you an opportunity to breathe,
Mm.
to spend time with your loved ones, to
Mm.
really think about what it is you want. You have a moment to breathe, and that's how I took it. I'm like, 2020 for me, I already had the word release on my vision board before
Uh,
2020 happened. You know what I'm saying? Because I do my stuff the last month of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he already knew. Just gave us an opportunity to breathe so that we can assess what's important in our lives.
Man,
You choose what you want to focus on. So
this is good.
that's why I was like,
You
you gotta do
choose
what you
that.
gotta do. You choose
You
it.
do. You
Mhm.
really, really do.
You choose
You
that.
know, you choose.
And I choose to think about legacy, and I choose to think about making sure that it's not just my house that's okay. Because it's not, that doesn't help us.
It doesn't help
It doesn't help
us.
us. So yeah. Everybody you meet should know that you had an encounter with God by the way that you act. And that's what he does. He shares love. So
That's
shares
how he
love.
does it. Mm,
Yep.
I love this. This is really good.
I'm telling you, it's crazy to hear some of the stuff that he tells me to say, because it's not me. To hear some of the stuff that he
See
tells me
that?
to say,
You
it's
just got me
like
chills again. Yes, you got me chill every time. That's how I know God when He's really talking. Now, before, I used to be like, "Oh, I think it's." Now I'm like, "Nah, I don't think."
yeah,
He just
I
did it. I mean,
know.
he's here all the time. Like He's here. We're just not paying attention.
Yep.
At time,
Yep.
and I'm guilty of it. Like 100%. He's
Here.
always here.
Yeah, because we have, like I said, we choose to be on our phones. We choose to have all these distractions. But in
These
2020, he said,
distractions.
let's take all
No,
that away. Take all your idols
everything.
away. All them idols are gone. Now, what you gonna do? You left with yourself. So, are you happy with who you are? Because really, that's what happened with 2020. Like everybody had to
That's what
face
happened.
themselves.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, he was like, up mirror,
That was,
face yourself.
and he put it real close, right? Say, here,
Yeah,
this is it, right? You can't go
all the
nowhere.
blemishes, all the blemishes,
Ooh.
and we're all flawed. So it's like you just gotta take
Man,
it
for what it
as you
is.
for what it is, and like try to work on those things because you are human. And
Yes.
God knew we were gonna sin. He knew sin was running rampant down here.
Right.
That's why he
Right.
sent Jesus.
Exactly. And
So
he know we can change as well because
mhm,
like a dove, something like that.
yeah,
A dove, they have to go, north or whatever, or one of them ducks. They have to go north during the winter or whatever, south during a different, time of the year.
mhm,
For us, if we don't like where we are or what we're doing, how we talk, how we communicate, we can change that. Like
yep,
within 3 months, you could change a good habit. You could change a habit for your whole life in a month.
yep. And it's
It's it's
empowering.
it's so no other like animal species, whatever, can do that kind of stuff. They
Yep,
go off of just strictly instinct, like, okay, today is eat, kill, eat, kill, eat, kill. Us, we like, no, you can build something. Like, oh, you can put air conditioning. You
yep.
can make something fly. You can go to Mars. They be like, you can do whatever you want.
Whatever you want, because you have dominion. It's crazy.
But when you see how we act, and you're like, oh, we don't really believe that.
Nope. That's the
Our
thing.
results ain't showing that. Our results ain't showing that.
Nope. We just be coasting. Just be
That's it.
coasting. That's why I always like thank God for like implanting in my mind to go vegan because like when he first told me, I was like, I told him no. I was like, no. But then like when I saw my mom had like a mild stroke that July. He told me in January of 2016, and I told him no. Then my mom had that mild stroke in July of 2016. And when I was there, I saw myself in that bed. I didn't see her. I could see me. And I was like, oh, we're not doing that. Like, okay, I get it. I was like, I get it. So when we got her home, like, I was like, August 1st, 2016, I went cold turkey. And I'm like, bro, if you can literally change the way that you eat and a habit you've had your entire life, you can do anything. It literally unlocks, like, for real, everything for me. Cause it's like, bro, you
Man,
broke
this
that.
is golly.
And because
And
I
you,
made a
you share
decision,
this. You
just,
you share this with people, right? Like you
yeah,
really are sharing.
yeah,
This is the stuff that like I wish this goes out viral. Like these are the type. Those are the stories.
yeah.
Even me too. My aunt after she saw me after 4 months. I saw her like she had all this tooth pain. You could tell her health was kind of deteriorating. She just had a stroke. Stroke is
Hmm.
what kill a lot of us, like us.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's too quick. Like it happens so fast. And when they leave, it's such an emotional impact. And you start thinking of it, you're like, oh, but it's not a regret, but you're like, man, if one or two things changed 10 years ago, she's spending another 15 years with her grandchildren.
yeah.
I'm still able to see her. I love her. I was like, I didn't know this last time I'm gonna see her in that form.
Yep.
And that stuff was staying. I was having trouble with that for like 8 months. I was like, man, why did I do dentistry? Why am I in this thing? Like, I started questioning all that. But then it made me change.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, dude, I can teach kids to unlock how medical works.
Yeah.
To do this, though, I've learned it takes resources.
Absolutely.
Because then they now got to go and do like certain research to now prove that this is why what I'm saying is legitimate. So now I was like, okay, I can create and help create doctors, and we do group economics to help now go compound that interest and now reinvest into the people who look like us.
So beautiful, man.
But
Oh
you got
my
to go.
gosh.
You got to go against the grain. Now you got to be like, look, you got to think more business wise. Like you got to think. Look, you look at all these investors, all these Jeffersons and Monarch Dentistry. That's all. It's not dentists owning that stuff.
Yeah.
That's people on Wall Street. And then we have to overtreat people to meet up with their expectation of what they do and to get their return. Everything is like, so I'm like, doctors, wake up. A doctor, after you touch somebody, if you did something wrong, you will die knowing you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Even if you're a bad doctor. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So I'm like, y'all got to wake up. Like, look at what people are doing. You can be in that position.
Yeah.
So one of my things is increase the generational equity of the ambitious Black mind. And I'm doing that now, starting first with the doctors, and I'll trickle my way down to the kids.
That's amazing.
So I'm getting them into ownership. Think about the finances. Yes, we already know your heart there.
Yep.
If it's not, it's always going to come back. It's not my problem. That's you and God, right?
Mm-hmm.
But think about that aspect of it as well. So some of that is coming back into the community, and you grow that, and that's what you now use to invest. And this is how the cycle works with the way the system works.
That's exactly how it works. That's exactly how it works.
Going.
So that it's crazy because it's like you're dealing with people who are already successful, right? And like
quote unquote, that's what the world thinks.
That's what the world thinks.
But
right?
we at negative 400 in debt. Like it's not, people come down to New York at
Exactly.
negative 500, $600,000. They just look successful.
They just look successful, right? And that's exactly my point because my demographic is normally student athletes. So
that's a whole nother.
It's a whole other realm because they think they're wealthy already. They think I'm gonna make it to the league, like all of this. And you just said something. Think about the business side of it, and that is pretty much like the new. Well, it's not new, but that's really what I'm honing in on because I'm like, bro, you have a gift, right? God gave you this one gift, right? He gave you more than one, but this is the one that you've chosen, right? And if you're gonna do this thing, you need to do it in a sense of I'm gonna maximize every opportunity. And that's what my last book is about. I was trying to teach them like you have a million gifts, but you have chosen this one for now. And I want you to understand that you have multiple, but you need to maximize this opportunity so you can lay that foundation not only for you, but for everybody coming behind you.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily to put pressure on you. It's just like, look, understand the magnitude of the gift. It's important.
Okay, that's a whole different space.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's because they going from I'm 18 years old to now I'm 19, and I just went up $27 million.
Yeah, and you're a celebrity in high school. Like
that jump. Ooh.
You feel like you gotta live a certain lifestyle because you are a celebrity in high school. Literally, you might be a celebrity before then if you play like AAU sports and stuff like that. Like these kids are celebrities.
Right.
Like it's crazy.
If you look at people that do it well, like LeBron James,
yes,
one of the biggest things I've seen, Shaq. There's many of them now. Like even Jason Williams, I'm noticing.
Yeah.
They first off, who there's around them, and second of all, they're mentors. And they invest in it. I don't care if it's you paying $50,000 to have coffee with someone. I paid someone $10,000. It's so beyond worth it because it works with you what they call in perpetuity, meaning for the rest of time. You can't unlearn what that knowledge, what that wisdom had just been put in you. You can't unlearn that.
It's the most important. Because I don't know if you know who Fred Taylor is. He used to play for Jacksonville a while ago. I watched
Okay.
this podcast called I Am Athlete, and I love it to death because they're like giving free game on there. But
Okay.
he always says exposure leads to expansion, and I'm like, that is true because the reason why we don't go after things is because we don't know they exist,
Exactly.
and the information is what they hold captive. And
Exactly.
that's why I say take full advantage of your opportunities because you're around trust fund babies, you're around professionals. You know what I'm saying? When you go to
Right.
school, it's like open up and absorb all
Ask.
of that,
Yes.
ask, and
And
then
ask.
take that back to your hood, regurgitate that, bring it
That's
back.
it.
That's
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 it.
it. That's all you
That's
gotta
it.
do.
And when that ask, what I've learned too is when something is free, like healthcare, if you give it to them to people for free, they don't cherish it as much.
Yeah,
This is with anything in life. Even like if someone gives you a lot of love for free,
yeah,
you don't reciprocate that as much. You have to pay the price for. And what I learned was if you really wanted to change something, invest in it. Like
yep,
it's even okay to invest and not have that much cash because you're just investing it into yourself. And the biggest thing is yourself first.
yep,
All the real estate and asset, those grow like at 7 to 14%.
yeah.
When you invest in yourself, it grows at 300 to 400 to 500. It doesn't like you can't unlearn what you learn. So
You
you can
planting
make
seeds.
you planting seeds. And what you make in 1 hour when you're 30 or when you already have learned all this is what you could probably make or what you were made if you made like $1 million earlier in life.
True.
That makes you can make that in a week.
Yeah,
You
you
see where I'm
can.
going?
You start
What
looking at time differently.
time, everything changed. Like
Yeah.
one of the biggest changes for me, and I don't say it to brag, but it's like in 1 month I worked 3 days a week, right? And I earned what my dad did in a whole year of hard work.
Wow.
And I went and I showed my dad. He said, "Wow." I
Wow.
said, "Dang, this just happened." When I say I work 20 hours a week, I mean I work from 1 to 7 on Tuesday, 10 to 6 on Wednesday, and 1 to 7 on Thursday. The
Wow.
rest of the time I was with my wife. I was at home with Starbucks.
Beautiful. Balance.
You see where I'm going? And when that happened, and it wasn't like I'm over treating. I learned how to hire other doctors that did what I couldn't do, like wisdom tooth extraction, surgery, sedation, implant. I don't do that. I
Yeah.
just had the space that they can come do it in. That mindset, that shift. I was like, me and Michelle were at Starbucks and they was doing work out there.
Yeah.
The team knew more about the insurance than I. I just I just put the thing. I was like, okay, this is what I got to invest for y'all to come in and do that. All right, sure. I let it go and it came in.
Yeah.
These things change everything.
Yeah. That's real.
See where I'm going?
It definitely that's why you have to expose yourself to different things.
Yes,
I'm about to hire you to be my business coach.
I'm telling you.
No, real talk. 'Cause
you
look, I'm gonna tell you like this.
oh,
'Cause
no,
I
Katrina,
made the
no.
decision. I made the
Okay,
decision. Like, look,
okay,
that I mean, I already know that entrepreneurship is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because
yeah,
I mean, it was ingrained in me from my mother. My mama owned a business when I was younger, so I knew it was possible when I was a kid. But like, I want to always get myself in a position where I can provide as well as give and make sure that the business is going to thrive. You know what I'm saying? So that's I've been doing like a lot of studying myself, but I've been saying that I need to get a coach like probably like the past 3 weeks. I was like, I'm gonna get a business coach because look,
yeah,
you can only learn so much, like absorbing so much yourself. You need
yes,
someone who has done it or
yes.
has the experience like with somebody who has done it.
Perfect. And
So
I like how you brought that part up. Really, let's talk about this too.
yeah,
Because like for you, let's say specifically, I always recommend for people to go and find the person that does exactly what they're doing, the way they want to do it, how they're treating people that they're around, and find that person to be their coach.
yeah,
And why I say that, because you would be more committed to doing something with someone who you know has done it and you trust, know, and like.
yeah,
It's just like you. The
yeah.
whole image, everything is like you. And another thing I would like to say about there's this book that it's called The Time Trap by Alan McKenzie.
Okay, let me write
And
that down.
yes, and he says like Katrina, you would just go through your day and you go from whenever you wake up, whether it's 6, 7, 5, whatever, all the way to 8, and meticulously write down what you do every 10 minutes. And you now just write down there, okay, what made me feel fulfilled?
Mm-hmm.
what was profitable and actually brought in income, certain amounts of income, and what wasn't. And after you do this over and over, it could be for like 6 months, you can now start having you do the things that you are most fulfilled doing and also are profitable, especially within your business when you become a CEO, because now you're an executive officer where you're
Yeah.
actually paying other people to do certain tasks that will take away from you being more fulfilled and profitable to now pay those staffs and now go and help the people you want to help.
Exactly.
This ain't no charity case.
Yeah.
What you doing right now ain't no charity case. You doing God's work, and God's work is in abundance. That's how I've learned it to be.
Yeah.
To where the deserved level, right, is what I believe most of us entrepreneurs should work on. And why I
Yeah.
say that, right now, if I took the average of what you've earned, and we don't have to put that. If I took the average for that 2 years, I could already say the deserved level is way lower than what it should be.
I agree. And
100%.
I definitely agree. And I feel like in 2020 is when I felt like, I mean, if I'm gonna do it, I need to be benefited from it as well.
Yes.
So it's just like it's that battle within you where you just like, I'm a giver. You know, we've all done this. You be like, I don't know what I charge, all this kind of stuff. So I've been like changing prices and stuff. Like I
Good.
literally have like, but it's just you have to get out of your own way and not think that they're gonna pay what you charge if they want it. And I
Here,
know what I put into it.
there you
So
go.
that's why I'm just like, I don't care no more.
But here's the thing, Katrina, because when we're on the call, it feel like we feel it. We feel inside, and we had a high.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we hang up, and that voice comes, you be like, "Oh, but I'm charging 10,000 for this." Like, bro, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're gonna pay for that. I don't think. Well, let me go down. And that's when you have that coach, that accountability, that group, that mastermind. It now says, Katrina, you are more than worthy. You are undercharging at 10,000. Keep it there, and let 30 people say no for that 31st person to say yes.
Yeah.
And you've now increased your deserved level. And
Yeah.
it's hard for you to now go back. And that right there is huge.
For real. Like ultimately it's like at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you have space to develop yourself and do the work. Because
Man, we going deep.
you have to.
Yes.
So, and if you're so busy doing everything, you can't do it. You can't do
Imagine
it.
you have a podcast and you trying to edit it, and you trying to go here and get more people to you got to hire that out. You an executive.
Yep.
And they have people, they have all these, they have so many different resources right now. Like you at this point in time, you get people in the Philippines that are doing this stuff way better, quicker, more efficient than you. Yep. All these online virtual assisting, they have people who live in their unique ability is to be organized, precise, schedule things for you. It's everything is inner work.
Yep.
And when you can now say, okay, I'm going to release me doing this lower valued task.
Yep.
When I say the resistance gonna come on you real good, you're gonna be like, oh no, but I should to do that and to get paid, I need to do that. No. All you need to do is live in your unique ability.
Yep.
And that's talking to people, finding the right, whatever it is for you, finding the right places to be, using that voice, working on hiring coaches to even help you with your voice. Yep. I mean, being in a prosperous place so you can have there's something different when you're studying and writing a book on the ocean, next to the ocean or in a mountain, it's different than when you're writing it in the basement.
Atmosphere.
Come on.
Yeah.
And so allowing yourself to do that.
Yeah.
You way beyond worthy to do that. All of us.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going?
The first thing people will say is we don't have the resources, but it's like, okay, so what do you have to do to get the resources to do it?
That's it.
These are conversations I had with myself last year. I'm telling you, because I was just like, I know God done poured so many. I get ideas very easily at this point, and I always be like, I'm gonna write it down. I keep a notebook on my table, like so. It's like you have to like write it down, and then you'll get to it. But if you keep on doing that tedious work, you're not. And I had to be real with myself and be like, you got to release it.
Yes.
So that's definitely what we're gonna do this year.
Yes.
Record everything, and I'm gonna be like, hey,
This ain't it. This ain't it.
yeah,
And you would see what releases. I'm telling you.
yeah, for
Because
real.
other people are already way better at what it is that you're trying to release.
Yep, because it's their gift.
It's the way this
That's
thing
their,
works.
yeah, it's their gift, man. But it is,
Yes.
but releasing that is the hardest thing, especially when you start a business, because you're like, I got to do everything.
And you know what's going to happen? You're going to take an income hit as soon as you release. And you got to be willing to sustain that. That's the part too. Because you're like, dang, what I was doing this when I was here and I released it, it ain't working, so I'm going to go back.
Yeah,
And it's that holding it all the way to where it's like, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. And it's going to be like, it really hurts.
yeah,
And then you now see the pickup. And then you like, oh, and then when it picks up way higher than what it was before.
yeah,
And then you just go find the next thing. You can really have it to where you are seriously only living in your unique ability from when you wake up in the morning to when you sleep at night every day of your life.
you can have
It
it.
doesn't seem like it's real, but it is. Especially when you really doing what you're supposed to be here doing. You already see people doing it.
Yeah,
They
if
all out
they
there,
can do
people,
it,
all
we
these
can do.
artists.
They
That's
can do
100%.
it. We can do it too.
100%.
Like I will give a lot of credit too to the people that I have around me, my friends. Like, well, my best friend Valerie, I would say she's the one person that I can say, when it comes to finances, she's a guru at that. Like, she's literally debt free at this point. You know what I'm saying? And me seeing somebody that comes from a place like me, who looks like me, actually accomplish that, that just lets me know that if he's blessing her, he's in the neighborhood and he gonna do that to me too. So
Okay, Chris. Okay.
it's beautiful. I'm like, I can, as long as I feel like as long as I put in the work to, you need to know what's going on with your finances, number one. Number
Uh-huh.
two,
Uh-huh.
I feel like if you make that decision and you make those sacrifices, you can get to where you're supposed to be. But seeing her do it lets me know it's possible. And I love that. I'm so proud of her and I'm happy to have experienced that with her every step of the way.
So I have a question. Is one of your goals to be debt free by a certain period of time?
My goal is to be debt free by 45
Okay.
because I'm already 33. But that is
What
definitely
you mean
my goal.
already? You mean you only 33? Hold on.
Oh
Hold
no,
on.
I'm happy. I'm happy to be.
Okay.
Age is not a problem for me. I don't
Okay,
mind,
because you looking younger, you going younger. Let's
yeah,
let's talk about this whole thing when it comes to finance,
yeah,
right? And I used to really think that way too. And Katrina, one of the biggest reasons I sold my practice was when when $600 billion came into the market
hmm
out of the air. You know, my mom used to say like, money don't grow on trees. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
you're right. It just grow in the computer.
right,
So then I had to think about it. I'm like, wait, that means there's no bottom, there's no top.
yep,
We're just here. And someone told us what the value was of this thing called money, but it's not so. So I'm like, let me learn the game, right? How am I trying to pay off a debt if the dollar itself is already the debt?
yeah.
It's virtually impossible. So even if you debt free, it's like, why? Why would you do that?
That makes
It
sense
is
though. It makes sense
because
though.
you think about your dad worked. My dad worked 32 years and got laid off. Like he had a severance package.
hmm
And I'm like, everything he saved, the value of that just went down. And he
Yeah,
didn't travel. He didn't. My dad came home at 7 o'clock every night. Like there was a lot of constriction. He held on tight, and so the abundance life, right? So then I was like, all right, there's different ways in this place. Let's say if you buy an asset or you have a business, but here's the thing: you put a value on your business. Let's say now level 27 is $1 million business. Whatever debt you have is so minutia, is so minute to that, to where as soon as all you have to do is even sell a piece of that and take care of this.
yeah.
But if
That makes sense.
we concentrate on this, you're gonna live so tight, you won't even feel you have money to invest in yourself to make 10 times what this thing was. But they will make you think that debt you in is a bondage, and
True.
it's a fake number. And this is what I want
Wow.
to release in people. I had one dental practice, and I had it for 2.5 years, right? And I worked at only 20 hours. And the value of it was in more than all of the debts and everything Michelle and I ever had.
Wow.
And it was easy.
Wow. I
So
never
now I
thought
was
about
like,
it like that.
what if I have 50? I could do 50. Now I'm trying to learn how to encourage people to work differently. So let's say I can even like hire, I can have like a whole corporation.
Yeah.
It won't be called small business no more. Like, forget the days of us having small businesses. We're doing big business.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going? So level
Yeah.
27 is easily $1 million company. You just have to, first the person inside who starts it, it has to know that, like, and it takes belief. You got to like probably write this down every day and pray on it, like until it comes to your subconscious mind. And before you know it, you attract it. You have 5 employees, you're already $1 million business.
That's true.
Look, and now your debt ain't nothing. You
true.
take care. Yeah.
Look,
you in abundance.
And this book right here, right? I have
what's that book called?
Well, it's just my notebook. It's it's my notebook that says trust your gut. But I read my life goals every day, right? And most of them, like, I always end, I'm gonna tell you what I end with. I have a whole section on level 27 and my other business, right? Where I don't see just a small business at all. Like, so with you saying it that way, it makes a lot of sense to me now. I never thought about that part with the debt. I never thought about it like that. So that's really a good thing. Thank you. I learned something. For real.
That means in 1 year. No, by the end of this year, what they call your asset, your level 27, can already be multiple times whatever your debt is. So you already debt free.
Yeah.
It's in your mind.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
You see where I'm going? And that one thing can release a human being. Because now you're like, oh, I'm about to really invest. Oh, I'm about to go all in.
Look, real talk though, because that's why I say I've never seen the businesses as small. Like, I don't even refer to my business as a small business.
Good.
Because
words matter.
I never, like, honestly, when I see the businesses, I see so many avenues where I can make money. But it took me getting to the point where I'm willing to release the work. So that's the transition I'm going through right now.
Okay.
And I'm like, I know that God wouldn't have given me this only be me.
Of course not.
And in here I say I want to have an accreditation, basically, like, and build more youth advocates.
Yes.
That's literally what I read every day. So I believe that wholeheartedly, and I'm glad you said that, because now it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah.
Because when you look at the debt and you be like, oh God.
It's debilitating physically.
Yeah.
So it's like, another way I look at debt is they have what they call a balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do with the balance sheet, what I do is I put the price of what the value of my practice is, or my business, and it's way smaller than whatever debts I have. And then the second thing I do is I will pay, let's say, even if it's $600 for a life insurance plan, that covers all the debts and a lot more.
Yeah.
So then now you like, what do I have to lose?
Exactly. Yeah.
For me, I'll give business credit because it don't show up on my personal credit.
Yeah.
And I'm investing in myself because I'll spend $30,000 on myself, but then it'll make me $100,000 within 6 weeks. I've seen it.
Yeah. I believe that.
So this is the way it works. That's why I'm here. Like, okay, I spent 7 hours today doing orthodontics, and all it takes is for me to go and do one more patient or 2 more people, and it comes back. So why would I not continuously? Matter of fact, I continuously invest in myself. I continuously keep myself almost cash poor. Now, I have my certain amount of cash, but I don't carry too much cash.
Yeah.
Because I want it to go.
It's supposed to go.
There you go.
That's the whole point that's the whole cycle of money, though. Like,
that's what I'm saying. They're supposed to be held and all that.
It's supposed to be, it's supposed to move. That's the whole reason for money. And a lot of people don't believe that, but I believe that. I tell Valerie that all the time. She's like, oh, she getting better with it though. But
Valerie, like my dad, I can tell Valerie.
Yeah.
She cause my dad, he ain't had debt ever. But boy, when I tell you you see how they live. Those people are different.
Yeah.
They so strict, bro. They be like, you can't get this at the restaurant and stuff.
No cheese on the burger.
No cheese. I be like,
I'm like, eat that cheese.
Nah, like for me, that's why my life is different. When I like what I like, right?
Yeah,
Like food, they like going traveling,
yeah,
invest in myself. I don't skimp
yeah.
at
You
you.
can't.
Ooh,
You can't. You cannot. It's like
okay,
you really can't.
yeah,
I always tell her like it's crazy because um I'm glad that I'm in this space now because
yeah.
I feel like God is gonna move in a major way. I feel that. You know what
He
I'm
already
saying?
is. He
Like he
already is.
already is, yeah, I feel it. And it's like
Yeah,
it's different when you just feel it and you know.
yeah,
But
exactly.
like even when I don't look at like my circumstances when it comes to things I want to do. Cause
Mm,
like I went to Hawaii, what was that, 2018, right?
okay,
Um Montreal, it was his birthday and he wanted to go to
okay,
Hawaii.
okay,
So I was like, I'm going. Like, I don't know how I'm doing, but I'm going.
okay.
And like just reaching accomplishments like that, like I literally said I was going and I went.
And that's it.
And that's
That's
it.
all.
And I was
Whew.
like, those moments, it's like you can't not believe
Do you
the
see what I'm
power
saying?
of words, and you can't not believe that if you believe it, God is gonna make it happen.
Yes. All you
I
have to
didn't have
do
to
is
stress
want
for
it.
it or nothing.
That's it. You see that? And it didn't have to come with stress.
No, it didn't.
You see that? That's another misconception. You like, oh, because the way we've seen our parents earn money,
Yeah,
it has to come with so much stress. And I've had a coach that reminded me, he's like, no, think of it as you're literally getting money without stress.
yeah.
Like, feel free. Like, it just comes, it flows.
It flows.
It's
That's the
coming
word.
into you.
Flows. It flows. It definitely flows. Unless you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to do when you're doing that,
Yes.
yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah. There's gonna be
stressful.
some stress. Oh yeah, yeah. Not for
I don't
sure.
want to try to do anything. I'm going to do, and that's it.
I love. Oh, see,
The
that's another
power of
big thing.
words.
That's a big thing you just said because there's a superior difference when someone says, "I'm trying," or "I think I can." Those little think, try, it
Hmm.
automatically puts that into your mind where this is not a possibility for me.
Yep. Yep.
When I'm going to, God's already told me I am. I am this. Not that I'm going to be. I am.
Yeah.
God is the I am of the I. It's already everything is already there. Everything is already here.
Yeah.
Every human that's going to be here, they're just not in the form.
Yeah.
That's only it's everything is here. So it's
Yeah.
like all you have to do is imagine it. All you have to do is want it, and you
Yep.
imagine it in that head, and that's it.
And
You
allow
hold
yourself
the
to
image.
become it. And
Yeah,
allow yourself to become it.
that's it. Give
That's
you
it.
the space to become it. And I mean, and this stuff that is not talked about as much. This is real stuff.
They don't talk about it because I mean it's really that simple. Like one of my other friends asked me like, "What do you think that you bring to friendships and relationships?" I said, "I make it simple. I simplify life. Like I don't. I'm gonna be that person who got four knives, four forks, four spoons, and four plates. Like
That's all you need.
I simplify life because it doesn't have to be this difficult. It just doesn't have to be difficult like that. You have your trials, yes, but the stuff I can control, I'm not gonna, put extra on it. It
Mm,
makes no sense. We make stuff harder than it has to be.
we do. We do.
So I want to be the queen of unbothered.
Dang,
That is the goal.
that's deep. Nah, that's really deep.
I've seen
Wow.
a lot coming from the south side of Fort Worth, Texas. I've seen a
Oh,
lot
so
there.
yeah, you've seen it there
I've
too.
seen a lot, and I'm like, you can choose what you want. And I chose. I could have either went the other way. I could have easily went that way. You know what I'm saying?
What made you specifically choose another way?
Legacy. And watching my mother, first of all, the sacrifices she made. That honestly, I was like, how disrespectful
Okay.
would it be for me to just
Okay.
like she showed me this. Like my mom exposed us to everything. Like, we knew what drugs were. We knew what it is because she exposed us to it so we wouldn't have to be curious about it. Like she made, these are the things that happen when you do stuff like this. Like exposure. And me not being curious about stuff and like a mother that let me talk, that's what made me do right. Because I was like, I can't disrespect her like that. But I just couldn't do that to her. And I wanted more for me. Like, just because this is what I see every day doesn't mean that that's what my life has to be. So I felt like God wanted me to have more. I was a kid that was sketching in my journals and stuff since I was little. And it was always something big, never small. It was always big. I drew my house when I was like 5. Like it was all God, but it definitely was her instilling in me that this is what you need to do. Be free, and I want you to be yourself. And I couldn't disrespect my mother like that when she
It's
gave me
okay for
that foundation. She gave me the best foundation I could have.
man. That's big. Just the fact that that's what you remember. That's what's so deep inside you. Sometimes I like to interview people like your mom too as well, just so I see her perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it gives me more help to understand as well.
yeah. Your
Um,
village is important. That village is important.
I mean, what else do you have? That's everything, bro. That's your environment.
Oh, I will
100%.
say this too. I will say this too.
Okay.
My whole family, like my immediate family, right? It seems like service has always been
Okay.
something that
Okay.
they do. Like they're service based. Like my
Okay.
uncle is like they work. He's a janitor, but he's like he's the head janitor. He's on the board in Arlington. Like everything is service based, right? Very humble. You know what I'm saying? But they make it. That doesn't matter. Like they make a certain amount of. They make more money doing what they love doing, and like seeing that you can be of service and still be prosperous.
Absolutely.
Like you can't. You just can't
That's so
not do
true.
it. Like
That's
I
true.
saw it growing up. My family, everybody's in service based jobs. Like I told you, I was the first to go to college in my family. So
Right. So you really pushing the bit. Wow.
that's why I say legacy is important for me because I knew that I was doing something, but I didn't know what I was doing when I was doing it. You really just don't know until after. Kinda. When you're younger, you don't really know sometimes.
Absolutely. Do you have any
So
you have siblings?
I have one brother.
Okay.
He's my older
Okay.
brother too, and he chose the
Okay.
military, and he was born for that. Like when I
Okay.
say made booby traps in the house, like
Do all
my
that.
brother made like he made a gun out of like rubber bands and something. Like my brother
Wow.
was meant to be in the military.
Wow.
So he retired from the military, and yeah, that was his first career. Now his second career is in service. He's gonna be graduating from college, I think, in May. And he's going for psychology. So it's just crazy. Like everybody's service based. It's all about other people,
Absolutely.
and that's the type of family we have. So
That's
I'm
big.
excited
Thanks
though
for
to share.
sharing that.
No problem at
Oh
all.
yeah. Really,
I'm
really.
happy to share that. But yeah, humble
Yeah.
beginnings does not mean that your life has to be
Not at
like
all.
that. So
Not at all.
and you sacrifice what you got to. You gotta do what you gotta do. But just know that it's always bigger than you.
Man, this was good, Katrina. I appreciate you having me on here. For
No
sure.
problem at all. I'm so proud of you, Chris. Like
Thank
keep
you.
doing what you're doing, and I'm super excited to see what you do next. Because
Thank
I
you.
mean, you're moving in purpose. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh yes, I feel it. Thank you
It
so
is
much for
amazing. So.
yes. Yes. Thank you so much.